Alright, what's going on, you guys? This is Kevin, Full Metal Ginger, and yeah, man, it's finally time. We're going to do our top 20 metal albums of the year for 2020. Whew, yeah, it's a pretty shitty year. I think we can all attest to that, so I won't sit here and beat a dead horse. We all know all the crap that's happened this year, so anyway, let's move it right along, do something happy, and hopefully put all this crap behind us. So like I say on here every year, this was a very difficult list to put together, and that's the thing too, I only picked up maybe between 25 and 27, 2020 releases, and even then it was hard to knock it down to just an even 20. So I mean, I've got some honorable mentions down here that just, for whatever reason, I mean, honestly, I probably didn't spend a lot of time with them, so couldn't really justify putting them on the list, but awesome albums, so don't let, my opinion kind of shy you away from them. They're all really good stuff, and honestly, I think this is one of the best album of the year videos I've ever had in terms of the quality of music I've got on here, so you guys let me know what you think. I guess that's pretty much all I needed to say. Oh, and once again, I don't differentiate between full lengths, demos, EPs, that kind of thing. If it came out this year and I really liked it, it can go on the list, and if you don't like that, you can make your own video or kiss my ass, whichever one you want to do. So, alright, we'll go ahead and get into it. So, like we do every year, we're listening to the 2019 album of the year, and kind of giving it its last, time on top. This is Dauþuz-Monvmentvm. Easily my number one from last year. Just a fantastic album. And German black metal band, and one of my favorite bands in general to come out over the last decade or so. And yeah, can't wait to see what they come out with next. Its time is over. Let's see what finally dethrones it at number one. Alright, water time, because of course I've done 20 damn takes of this video. What else is new? Alright, so at number 20, this is the cover art. It's really dark on this, so it might be pretty hard to see, but I'll try my best. It's a black metal band from Ohio. This is Valdrin with Effigy of Nightmares. I'm trying to give you as detailed look as I can. I know it's horrible, but anyway, it's their third full-length overall. This one came out on Blood Harvest. God, it's even worse. Anyway, what I liked about this is a very nice blend of discord and melody. I mean, one moment it sounds like it's flying off the rails, and then they hit you with a really jarring hook, and it kind of brings you back, and it just really ebbs and flows like that. Really hard to pinpoint and put your finger on what exactly it is that's awesome, but not that it's awesome, but what it is, it's kind of basically the glue that's holding this thing together, because it constantly feels like it's out of control. But yeah, I mean, it's a really cool release. I was really high on it when I first picked it up, and then for whatever reason it just kept dropping every time I try to put this list together. So I mean, it can move up. It's another one of those albums that every time you listen to it, you pick up on some more details you didn't notice before, and it gets you a little bit more every time I hear it. But yeah, if you like Emperor, and I could say maybe, I don't know, Dissection, but like with a much harsher overall tone and quality, that's basically what this sounds like. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, definitely check this one out. Really, really killer album. So there's Valdrin at number 20. 19. This is another one that was really high, and then it just kind of kept falling as I, progressing through getting all the list put together and everything. A really fun album, honestly. This is Funeralopolis with Of Deceit and Utter Madness. I believe it's their debut full length on Memento Mori. Swiss death doom band. Basically imagine a swampier version of, say, Asphyx or Grave. It's kind of what you get out of this. The only knock on it, it's like they stay in the mid-tempo style riff pretty much the entire time, and doesn't really get out of that all too often. So it's a little hard to kind of fully digest it and let it sink its claws into you so you can really absorb it. But it's one of those ones, if you listen to it enough, it's kind of like the Valdrin album. It starts to pick up, and you get a better grip on it as it goes along. But yeah, man, it's really, really good hooks, and like I was saying, it takes it a while, but it's one of those that'll grab you, and you'll discover a little bit more every time you listen to it. And so that's probably the reason why it fell so much. Just because I was having a hard time remembering even how it sounded. That's not I don't want to use it as a knock on it. It's just kind of the one thing that made it fall so far, but still a phenomenal album. I would highly recommend you check it out. But at number 19, there's Funeralopolis. And the girls are running around making racket, so I'm going to try to get through this. Next up at 18, an album, grindcore album that seemed like a lot of people were pretty high on. I kept seeing this pop up on people's Instagram pages and whatnot, but this is Eternal Rot, Grieving Birth, Australian grindcore, their second full length overall. Headsplit put this one out. I think they just did the tape versions. I can't remember. I'm almost positive there was some other labels, releasing this album, but pretty much, in my opinion, it's just perfect grindcore. Really feral guitar sound, relentless speed all throughout, short and sweet, to the point. Pretty much every song on here is within a minute or slightly less, or maybe slightly more. I mean, you basically know what I'm getting at there. But what really sold me on this one is just the overall production, and that's kind of what got me, was how well the drums really cut through all the guitar noise. Everything comes out sounding very prominent, very well displayed, and yet still maintaining that really raw, feral, cut to the bone type of grindcore that, is pretty much what you'd come to expect from the genre by now. So I mean, in that sense, it really kind of stood out for me a little bit. But probably one that I could have spent a little bit more time with, but I'm not a massive grindcore fan, so it's kind of why it's so low. I mean, I could see why people would put it much higher, but just for me, I've got it at 18. I think it's a pretty good spot for it. Alright, at 17, we have one from Caustic Wound, Death Posture, Seattle Death Grind band. This is their first full length overall. I think they might have had a demo or something out previous to this. Came out on Profound Lore Records, and I've always likened it to it being like a more grindy version of Cerebral Rot. So if you dig that band, you'll probably dig this as well. And at first I was like, oh, maybe that's because Kyle Lindstrom, it's one of his other projects. And then I got to looking at it, no, he just does the vocals on here. So maybe it's just something in the water in Seattle or the Pacific Northwest in general. But this is one I was having a hard time putting my finger on how exactly to explain it, other than to say that's what it sounds like to me, that Cerebral Rot, fetid style of guitar and overall structure of the albums, but a little bit more grindcore influence, basically. So, I mean, that's basically all I can really say about it. Another one that I kind of probably spent a little bit more time with it, but I don't know, I was kind of getting into a lot of other things, and it kind of got kicked to the wayside a little bit, but not for any lack of it being good, it's just kind of what happened with it. But yeah, it being, so hard for me to describe and really put my finger on it other than the Cerebral Rot, comparison, I think 17 is a good spot for it. So, yeah, Death Posture, really good album. Alrighty, going to 16, we have one that is nothing you haven't heard before, but in terms of how it's performed and how it was recorded and executed, phenomenal album. This is the newest one from Cardiac Arrest, The Day That Death Prevailed, at number 16. Chicago Death Metal Legends, man. Their 7th overall full length. What did this come out on? I think it came out on Memento Mori, and then Headsplit did the tapes. It's another one of those, dual label releases. But yeah, man, again, nothing really original, but the execution is absolutely flawless. You definitely got the autopsy and cyanide worship on here, but again, what sells it for me is it's just so good. I mean, the riffs are so good, the songs are good. In terms of composition, how everything's put together, the album flows very well. I mean, it just beats you over the head and leaves. It's pretty much what you would want in any old school death metal sounding album, and that's what they deliver here. It being that it's that similar and that familiar to me, I couldn't really put it up high. But for what it is, I really love this album, and it's definitely one that I came back to quite a bit throughout the year. And yeah, I mean, what can you say? It's Cardiac Arrest, and honestly, this is one of my favorite ones that they've done recently anyways. I really enjoyed this album, so I don't want it to sound like I'm not saying good things about it. I mean, it's just that, we've heard this type of album before, but again, for what it is, I thought it was a very well done album, and definitely one of my favorites from this year. So yeah, Cardiac Arrest at number 16. Oh, need some more already. Alright, at 15, you guys can shit all over me for it. I understand. Probably not a release that belongs on here, but I'll explain. So I've got the newest EP from Cerebral Rot, of all people, Spewing Purulence. This is a 2-song EP. Yeah, I get it, but I mean, really, I really enjoyed listening to this. I had a ball listening to this. Every time I'd be listening to something else, I would, you know, I want to listen to that new Cerebral Rot EP. It's really good. I really enjoyed it. And they're one of my favorite bands to come out here recently, so, I mean, I just couldn't get enough of listening to it. It's pretty much what you'd come to expect. It's just a good continuance of what you got on Odious Descent from last year. And, you know, I just kept finding myself drawn to it. I mean, to be fair, yeah, it's 2 songs, but it's one of those that, you know, each song is like 5 minutes long or so. So you get at least a good 10 minutes out of this. And, I don't know, it's just one I kept coming back to. So when it was first released, I didn't get a chance to pick it up. And then they put out the second press later, and I was like, yeah, I'm grabbing that for sure. I was out on Parasitic Records. I got mine through Headsplit. It's just one of those I had to have. So, I mean, yeah, I understand if you're like, well, what the hell are you doing putting a 2-song EP on an album of the year list? I don't know. I mean, it's just, but if I want to take everything I listened to this year that I enjoyed, it's going to be in there at some point. So I at least put it low on my list. All right, so there you go. Anyway, Cerebral Rot, Spewing Purulence at number 15. Okay, let's get to some proper full lengths now. This one was a pleasant surprise, and not to say that, you know, this band has been putting out crap material, but at the same time, I didn't expect it to be this good. I mean, this is a really good album. This is a, well, at number 14, Incantation-Sect, Divinities. I was blown away by how good this was. Honestly, probably my favorite Incantation album over the last probably 10 years. That's not to say anything, you know, against stuff like, you know, Dirges of Elysium or something like that. I mean, but I don't know. I just was not expecting this to be this good. I mean, for a band's 12th full length, they are still cranking out really, really good albums. And Incantation being one of those bands anyway that doesn't make crap material. But still, every time I listen to it, it's like, wow, this is really that good. I mean, I don't know. I really, really enjoyed this. I mean, you still got the really phenomenal riffs and tone. Catchy riffs all throughout. But I mean, you know, it still maintains that classic Incantation, you know, discord that they've always been famous for. So, I mean, it's really refreshing having these bands that don't slack off even this far along. I mean, they've been around, what, 30 years now at least. They are still putting out just phenomenal material, and that's my hat's off for sure to Incantation for doing this. This is definitely one that I constantly came back to, and every time I listened to it, it was like, wow, you know what I mean? It was really that good. So there's Incantation at 14. Honestly, probably could have been higher, but you know, everything else I got ahead of it was just, I really, really enjoyed it. So, all right. Where are we? 13. And you can pretty much tell just from looking at this what this is going to sound like, so it won't be that shocking. But at 13 we have the self-titled debut demo from Visceral Mass. There you go. That's if whatever you're thinking, that's what this sounds like right now. Really repugnant, raw LA death metal, ridiculously heavy. It does have a touch, and it's not a lot, but you can hear it, you know, kind of laying under all the heavier guitar sounds. But I mean, it does have a touch of that Swedish death metal undertone, I guess I would say. But overall, it's just a punishing, pummeling release, start to finish. It never lets up on you. Sadistic, catchy riffs, and relentless fury, sheer devastation. That's all I really need to say about it. The only thing I'm kind of disappointed in is, like, apparently the band is on hold. I don't know why or what happened or anything, but it's just kind of like, am I not going to get any more Visceral Mass material? Because I really, really enjoyed this. So hopefully everything gets worked out and they can start kicking out some new material. I would definitely be interested in checking that out. So yeah, that's basically all you really need to know about this. There's a Visceral Mass at 13. Let me skip this. There we go. Alright, at 12, another just brutally heavy album. Well, that's an EP actually. The newest EP from Fluids, Ignorance Exalted. Arizona death metal. This was out on Maggot Stomp. Visceral Mass is on Maggot Stomp as well. I forgot to mention that. But yeah, I mean, if you haven't heard this by now, it's pretty much Mortician worship, period. That's all you really need to know. So if you like Mortician, this is definitely a band you need to be on right now. Distorted as hell. I mean, you gotta love the fuzzy bass tone, and just the overall presentation. Honestly, I mean, it's laughably disgusting, and I absolutely love everything that Fluid has done so far. I've got quite a bit of Fluid material in my collection that I haven't got around to even talking about yet, so really need to get on that sooner rather than later. But it's whatever. Yeah, the one thing that really makes this stand out from Mortician, so I have no problem with a band directly ripping off a band as long as they try to put their own spin on it. And these guys definitely do. I mean, they add some really good leads in there. The soloing is good when it's on there. So, but I mean, overall, it's just straight Mortician worship and just heavy. I mean, it shouldn't get any heavier than this. I don't see how it really can. But I mean, yeah, just look at these songs and think Mortician. That's all you really need to know. So, I had a really good time listening to this one. Kept coming back to it very, very often, as I've said for a couple others already. And yeah, probably my favorite in terms of this style of death metal, this atrociously heavy mid-tempo stuff. My favorite of the year for sure. So there's Fluids at number 12. Alright, my second really big surprise when it came to putting this list together and how high this was going to be. Really good album, and I enjoyed every last bit of it. And it's one of those that, honestly, this probably could have been in the top 5 had I spent more than, you know, maybe the last month of the year really diving in and listening to it. It just kind of is what it is, I guess. But at number 11, we have not necessarily a comeback album, but almost kind of. Prosanctus Inferi with Hypnotic Blood Art. Ohio-based black death metal. It's their third full length and their first in 7 years. So, I mean, it's in a way, it's kind of like a comeback album. But yeah, man, it's out on Nuclear War now. Great diversity on this album. I love the ebb and flow of it. Really packed with intricate guitar parts, but never really descends into wankery. I mean, it's got stuff that sounds really complex, but it doesn't lose you. It doesn't leave you in the dust, and you're trying to figure out what this part was. Meanwhile, it's over here doing something else. So it's intricate in that way where you need to really listen to it a few times to get a good grip on it, but it doesn't just leave you in the dust while you're trying to catch up. Came out on Nuclear War Now. If I didn't say that already, I probably did, but it's whatever. Yeah, honestly, it's a really epic sounding album. Take like Profanatica or something like that, but a little bit more straightforward and not so just apocalyptic sounding. I mean, this is a really dark album, but not in the same way, but they kind of have similar vibes to them. So yeah, I'm really surprised at how good this one was as well. I kind of figured it'd be good, but I didn't expect it to be so high up. I mean, almost in the top 10. And honestly, I probably could have put it as high as probably 7, maybe. Probably could be there right now. Honestly, by the time you're watching this, I probably got it up there at number 7. So, yeah. Again, another one that gets better with every listen. If you do decide to check this one out, give it more than one time around, and I'm telling you, you will probably dig this. So, yeah, Prosanctus Inferi at number 11. Alright, top 10 time, and we'll start with my favorite demo of the year. Wasn't even close. Love this every time I've heard it. This is Coagulate with the art of Cryptosis. This is the debut demo on Rotted Life Records. I think these guys are from Minnesota. And this is another one that was really hard to kind of describe. It reminds me of something like Undergang with maybe just a touch of Incantation-inspired riffs. I mean, it's sort of in there, but they really kind of, this is one of those bands that I was just kind of having a hard time really explaining. And I said that too when I reviewed this earlier on. But yeah, man, the very well crafted songs on here. It blends simple and complex parts really well. I mean, it's just a dark, ambient sounding, elaborate death metal album. Well, it's a demo. I mean, just think about this. This is a band that I really think are going to go places, because if they delivered this much on a demo, imagine what they're going to be like on their full length comes out. So definitely be on the lookout for these guys. This came out on Rotted Life Records. There may be some more copies left, but don't miss out on this, because I'm telling you, these guys are definitely going to be out there here soon. So check this one out for sure. Let's Coagulate at 10. Number 9. I absolutely love this album. Every last bit of it, start to finish. I think it's the first Finnish band we got on here, and there's at least three or four. But at number 9, we have Sadistic Drive with Anthropophagy. I always tongue-tie that every time. Anthropophagy. There we go. This is their debut also, and I picked this up through Headsplit Records, I believe. I want to say there were some other labels that also had their hands on this one, but I just don't recall. But yeah, just raw and wild, flawless death metal, honestly. Riffs and blasts that never let up. Death metal the way it should be, honestly. Really putrid sounding vocals. Yeah, I mean, guitar harmonies, really scouring tone all the way out. And it's just one of those that every time I hear it, I get so excited and I just want to, replay it again. This definitely has a lot of replay value for me. That's no joke at all. It's just unfortunate that it came out when it did because so much other stuff just kind of pushed it back, and I was just like, God dang, I love this album so much, and I really can't get enough of this. Kind of want to listen to it right now, to be honest with you, but yeah, any other year it would have been probably top 5 for me, but it's just kind of is what it is again, like it's been for so many of these other ones. But please go check this one out. Last I checked, Headsplit still had copies of this available. I've not heard a lot of people talking about this, and that's yeah, I feel sorry for you. This is a phenomenal album, and another band that I could really see going places here in the next few years, so definitely check that out. That's Sadistic Drive at number 9. Alright, getting to the nit and gritty, all the good stuff here. This one is one that I knew was going to be high, and especially after the first time I heard it. This is Molder at number 8, Vanished Cadavers. And finally, a debut full-length from Molder. I know everyone was obsessing over their EP. When did that come out? 17 or 18? It's been out a little while now. I know I was a big fan of it, so it was really nice to finally get a full length from them. Death Thrash from Illinois, if you're not familiar for some reason. And what's great about them is they take the foundation laid in by Asphyx and then just kind of make it their own. Super catchy album. Every time you hear it, it's just stuck in your head for days. And right from granulated chunks, it grabs you and it never lets you go. I mean, if you can hear that song and not want to hear the rest of the album, this stuff is not for you, or you're just weird, I guess. That's how I feel about it. But yeah, it's damn catchy, man. And the future's definitely bright for these guys. I mean, they're going to be sticking around for a while. Really, really great band. So, I mean, I don't want to, again, beat a dead horse. I know everyone on here has probably heard Molder at some time. But yeah, there you go. Molder at number 8. And I don't know why, this one just grabbed me the way it did. And it's nothing too fancy. It's death metal we've all heard before, but sort of like Cardiac Arrest, this is one of those albums that it grabbed a hold of me, and I couldn't stop listening to it. Yeah, I mean, it's up high for reasons I can't explain, basically. I just love this album. This is Disembowel with Echoes of Terror at number 7. Like I said, it's very straightforward death metal. It's nothing you haven't heard before, but it's just, again, the performance is so good, the execution is so good, the riffs are so good, I couldn't stop listening to it. And every time I would have a thought about moving it down, I would listen to it again. It's like, no, it's got to be pretty high up, definitely in the top 10. But yeah, it's a Portland death metal band, another one on Maggot Stomp, so Maggot Stomp's definitely making the rounds on this list. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, man, it just sounds so good. Just perfect drum sound, really grimy guitars, and again, it has a touch of some Swedish death in there a little bit, maybe some early Carcass influence as well. But yeah, man, I just had to have it high. It's just such a good album. If you haven't heard this, check it out. It's straightforward, punishing, brutal death metal. Not brutal death, but it's brutal death metal. So there's death. Disembowel at number 7. Please check that one out. Alright, number 6. This is one that shot way up there almost immediately, and then it would move back, and then it would move way up. So this one was probably all over the place more than anything else. This is the new one from Gorophilia, Into the Eye of Nothing, or In the Eye of Nothing, sorry. Another Finnish death metal band, their 3rd full-length overall. Did not think they had a chance of coming anywhere close to topping Severed Monolith. I would still say Severed is the better album, but this is really, really close. God dang, I mean, it's loaded to the gills with just brilliant guitar work. The whole album flows really well, really intricate and dynamic parts, and just overall another classic from these guys. And I don't know how they were able to put together such a good album, especially after doing Severed Monolith. That was a brilliant album, and this one's right up there with it. So I would definitely like to know what you guys think about this one, because I know how praised that the previous album was. So let me know how you feel about the new Gorophilia album. I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. I've got it really high on the list, obviously. So yeah, So Corophilia at number 6. What else can you say? Great album. In terms of albums that moved way up the first time I heard it, because this one came in really late in the year, and the first time I heard it, I was like, oh, it's definitely top 5. This is a Feather and Bone with Sulfuric Disintegration. Yeah, another one I thought I never expected them to top Bastille Hymns, and here we go. This one outclassed it, I think, and it's pretty much what you come to expect from a Feather and Bone. I mean, it's just brain raping, you know, Chicago, Colorado, extreme death metal band. And you know, I had Bastille Hymns at number 3 when that album came out. I was like, there's no way they'll top this one. I think this one did, man. And I think the biggest thing with them, you know, with bands like Pissgrave being around and getting so much praise, these guys don't get it like they should. And if you like anything like that, just very chaotic, fast as shit death metal, I mean, really raw and just brutal as hell, this is definitely up your alley, and you need to be checking these guys out. No joke at all. I mean, just unending speed, heavy distortion, abrasion, they've got it all. They're barbaric to the core, I think. So there's a Feather and Bone, Sulfuric Disintegration at number 5. Holy shit, never expected to get that high. Alright, we're into the top 4 now. This is one that was instantaneously, I knew it was top 5 from the moment I listened to it, and I've loved every single second of it ever since this album came in. This is a debut full-length, I believe, from Leprophiliac with Necrosis. Death metal band from Spain. I think this originally came out on Rescued from Life Records, which you can see there. One of the more obscure labels to be on this list. And it's basically a modern-sounding Autopsy. Like, imagine Autopsy formed 30 years later. That's basically what you get out of here. And again, they definitely add a little bit more of a heavy approach to it. There's a sharp attack on there, but yet sloppy sounding at the same time. And they're responsible for some of the sickest riffs I've heard all year, man. Absolutely blew me away. And every time I put it on, again, it's like, yes, I can't stop listening to it. Another one that just repeat listens over and over again. And listening to it today, just trying to get ready for this video, I was like, oh yeah, this is a great fucking album. I mean, easily one of the better ones, and I think this is going to go down as an all-time classic. Years down the line, people are going to look back at when Leprophiliac dropped Necrosis. That's how I feel about it. We'll see how it goes, but I mean, yeah, absolutely blown away by this album. And it's nothing you haven't heard, but I mean, it's Autopsy worship, but it's just done so well. I could not stop listening to this. So, Leprophiliac at number 4. This one, all year long, I thought it was going to be at number 2, and for a while there it was number 1, and it dropped to 3, and that's probably a good spot for it, just based on what I've got to show you next. But the first one I picked up this year, first 2020 release, this is, so I've had the most time with it, so it stayed in the top 20, or stayed in my top 20, and it's been in the top 5 all this time. So, yeah, it's a really good album. This is Worm with Gloomlord, some just ferocious death doom or funeral doom or whatever from Florida. This is their second full length on Iron Bonehead. So these guys started out as a black metal band, shift over to the death doom, funeral doom style a little while later. And what I love about this is they've kind of packed both both versions of themselves into one album. This sounds so good, man. Just it's pure unholy darkness, pretty much. Very hypnotic in the song structure. Sucks you right in immediately, and gives you such a claustrophobic, cavernous atmosphere, man. The leads and solos really set it apart, suffocates you relentlessly, and leaves you breathless all throughout, man. That's basically everything you need to know. If you haven't heard this one yet, you're being an idiot. You're not being an idiot, but come on, get off your ass and go check this out. It's a great album. And like I said, if it wasn't for these other two coming out when they did, this is absolutely album of the year. But it being number 3, I'm pretty good with that, and I know it's going to be high on most everyone else's list. So there you go. There's a Worm with Gloomlord at number 3. All right, the only record we have on this list, and I don't know, man. This is such a fun album. There's so much energy in the way these guys play all these songs. I could not stop listening to this. At number 2, we have Undeath-Lesions of a Different Kind. Oh, wow, man. Rochester death metal band. It's their debut on Prosthetic Records. Prosthetic Records, man, I used to love them back in the day. It's nice to see them get some new stuff to come out here lately that I've been really digging. I found all kinds of great bands on Prosthetic, and I haven't listened to a lot of their stuff in a long time, but yeah, awesome album. The energy on this album is just so infectious, man. I could not stop listening to it. I mean, from just like Suitably Hacked to Gore, you're really into it, but by the time you get around to the title track, Lesions of a Different Kind, I was hooked, absolutely hooked. And you know, it's so upbeat but still raw and abrasive, and I don't know, it's just overall it's an incredibly fun album. Just whips your neck incessantly, brutal tone, great solos and dives for that matter. I mean, it's just an endless riff machine, and again, for me, it's another instant classic. So, you know, I probably got this rated way higher than anyone else will, but for me, I could not stop listening to this, and this is, you know, easily one of my favorite albums from this year. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about this. Just such a fun album. So there's Undeath at number 2. Alright, usually for number 1, we are, I'm usually having a battle between 2 other albums. It may be a little bit, you know, a runaway contest for the most part with some of these, but I mean, the second I heard this one, I was like, it's number 1. There's nothing else even going to come close. This is the newest full length from Havukruunu. God, love this album, man. Uinous Syomein Sota, I think it's how you pronounce it. I probably butchered that, but Finnish black metal band, pagan black metal band, and I mean, god damn, it just blows me away every time I listen to it, man. Yeah, this is their 3rd album overall, the first on Naturmacht Records, and it's just a band that gets better with every single album they put out. I mean, they've never failed to do that, which is really refreshing. You know, a lot of bands just get to that peak and they can never top it. These guys top it every single time. And again, every time I listen to it. Alright, sorry, my phone cut out there, but yeah, what I was saying about this is just it's a brilliant album, man. There's lots of range on this. There's so many dynamics that go on when you're listening to this. It's got the clean vocals, like, I don't want to say like operatic or anything, but just very like the that type of thing when they're singing it. So it's not quite chanting, but it's more like a shouted singing. If you heard any kind of pagan black metal albums, you know what I'm talking about on here. But yeah, it's just a really powerful album, man. The guitar work is absolutely brilliant. The composition overall, just for me, makes it a perfect black metal album. If you can imagine a cross between something like Bathory and Macabre Omen, like mid-era Bathory and Macabre Omen, yeah, you definitely know what this is all about. Every time I listen to it, I'm just drawn in. It hooks me, and in terms of, I mean, I could probably say that in terms of all the Album of the Year videos I've done, everything that's came, you know, to being a number 1 album, this probably outclasses all of them. I love it that much. And I've probably listened to this, more than all the other albums on this list combined, and then some. I mean, this has been on constant rotation since I picked this one up, probably back in, I don't know, July or August when I got this. I mean, it's been a whirlwind, and this has been played like virtually every other day since I've had this. So yeah, it was absolutely going to be number 1 for me. There was no question whatsoever. And if you haven't heard this, please, please, please go check it out. And I hope my endless rambling and ranting isn't going to, you know, set the hype up so much and then you just don't care for it. I don't think that'll happen, but this one blows me away every single time I listen to it. So there's Havukruunu at number 1, and that's it. That's all we got. That's 2020 in a nutshell for me. I hope you enjoyed the list. Absolutely let me know what you think. You can crap all over me if you don't like it. I welcome anything. Just let me know how you feel about it. So yeah, that's all I got for this year. Been kind of a crazy year. Hopefully we can get to doing more things in 2021. Yeah, I appreciate you guys watching, subscribing, liking the videos and everything. Just giving me your support. And coming up on 5 years now, and I can't tell you how much it's meant to me. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, and hopefully I can get you a little more and a little better content coming up in 2021. So thank you guys so much, and I will see you then.